How you doing, you mob? You're here with Big Will here at Marn Time. We're recording another episode today, or tonight, I should say. Joining me, Bella Alex. Today's going to be a bit of a shorter episode. We just sort of found some time within our calendars whilst I'm here in Townsville. Of course, I'm here in this beautiful little place where the boys here in Townsville have been recording their side of the podcast for, a couple of months now. So whilst I've been in Townsville, albeit for sad reasons or something we can talk about a bit later, it's sort of a good time for me to see what this little space is all about and see what we can do with better equipment, I should say. Yeah. But with all that being said,
we're improving slowly.
Improving, that's it, slowly. That's what my business is all about. The stuff that we're trying to tackle. A lot of it is it's just going to be a long road, but as long as we, myself, Bella Alex, Bella Joe, Bella Minnie, and all the other boys part of the Marn Business group chats and sort of seeing the struggles, but as well seeing the positives sometimes when we post it in the group chats or on our stories. I guess our goal is not going to just be something overnight or around the corner. As much as we'd like it to be, we know it's not going to be like that. So, I guess go into our usual side of our Marn Time episode is just check-ins. Bella Alex, how you been?
Good, brah. Just same old, busy with work. Very busy with work, actually. We went down to Brisbane start of May. Start of May was in Brizzy for the week.
Yep.
Back in April? Back into April, start of May in Brizzy for a week for work. Come back, started back in schools this week. And then go back down to Brizzy this Friday for Joe's birthday.
Yep.
All the boys going down there for a boys trip. Well, not all the boys, but some of the boys.
Yep.
And then come back, do some work for a few more weeks, then go back down to Brisbane for another work conference. So,
jeez.
At this point, I may as well just move to Brizzy. So
you may as well get you got frequent flyer?
No, I don't. I should get it.
You should get it.
There's been that many flights lately. Ridiculous. I'll say that the boss said, Eddie, I'll say it to him, like, within the last 6 months, I've flown Alliance, Virgin, Qantas, Jetstar.
You need that, not fitness passport, you need that airplane passport. The airplane. Give him. Well, you've been very busy, I guess, for work, and then, in your personal life, how's everything going at home and sort of things you're looking forward to outside of work or something you're working towards?
Yeah, at home life is good. I did a bit of reflection last night. You would have seen the status that I put up on Facebook. I was just laying down, and this month now is the month I stopped working on the boats in Cairns. And then I was just laying down thinking about it. And at that point, the whole reason why I got off the boats was because I was mentally depressed,
Yeah.
Didn't want to be out there anymore. I think I spoke about it in one of our early episodes where I actually thought about, doing the deed while I was out there, jumping off the back deck, weighted. And then last night I was just laying down thinking about it and how far I've come from there, coming off the boats, then straight into working with youth and teaching them all about culture. What made me think about it was the other day I was at Kelwyn High doing a session with the Year 8 boys at Kelwyn High. And one part of the session is we got to talk about the boys have got to write, I am proud to be what?
Yep.
Because of what? And one of the little young boys, he wrote down, I'm proud to be an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander boy because it is the oldest living culture in the world. So I was just thinking about that young fella doing that, then I was saying that, and then I thought back to me getting off the boats, coming straight into youth work, doing that cultural mentoring, taking the boys camping and doing all that stuff, teaching them how to make artifacts. Then moving down to Townsville in 2023. And then last year, the resurgence of Marn Business.
Yep.
Just thinking back on it, being in that mentally dark spot now, back then, to now where we're trying to be that positive light for mental health and helping men.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just a little bit of reflection that I did last night, and I was just thinking about it, like, fuck, I've come a long way. And then, when you're in those times, you just think, fuck, I didn't do the deed,
Oh,
because now I'm using all of that stuff to help other men.
That motivation.
So you see, we don't know what type of men are watching our podcast. You know, we could be helping a lot of men that we don't know about. But yeah, just doing that there, but thinking about all that stuff, and now, yeah, just putting it all into action, and now going into high schools and work with the boys in the high schools, and still passing on that knowledge of what I know and all that stuff. So
That's it.
mentally, I'm in a good place.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
All right. That's all right. Yeah.
Which are you?
Well, I guess I'm at the opposite end.
Yeah.
You know, Alex and, you know, a few of the other boys know, and of course family members know that I've had a bit of a rough, I guess, month and a half, 2 months. Firstly, I've just come out of a relationship. And in terms of why the relationship was lost, because, you know, everyone's arsehole, you know, what happened? And, you know, being up here, that's the first thing people ask, well, you know, where's your woman and all this? You know, and then, you know, I have to unfortunately break the news that, you know, sort of we split at the moment, sort of going on a bit of a break, and, you know, and I just tell them, you know, the reason why we had to split up, you know, I wear it, you know, I wear it in the fact that I tell these mob that whoever asks, you know, it's just something that, you know, me being just not a good fella, you know, not necessarily anything bad like physical or mental or anything like that, you know, that I caused harm on my partner, but it was just, I was bringing work stress home. It was a lot of the stress from the outside coming into the household, whether it was work, financials, you know, sort of societal pressures, just everything that, you know, and looking back on it now in hindsight, you know, all that thing, you know, it could easily be, not easily be fixed, but it could have been something where, you know, I always had an escape, I always had an out, but it was something that I neglected. And because I neglected my escape from home and work, and like, you know, my escapes would be going to the movies or going out on solo dinners, like doing all those things by myself and being in my own little space. Because I wasn't doing that from, you know, from last year heading into this year, and it just all sort of piled up where, you know, I sort of identified it in myself quite early.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you know, myself and my partner, we've had to have some very tough conversations, and I'm now back up in, you know, back down in Brisbane, living with mum and also being unemployed. You know, it has definitely been a very tough road in terms of relationships and family, but, you know, just on top of that, having to go through sorry business as well up here in Townsville. That's why I'm up here. You know, losing a grandmother. It's definitely it's been a very difficult time for myself and of course for my family, and but, you know, and that's something that, you know, I tell all the family that have come to Townsville for the last week and a half, you know, for sorry business and also to check in with myself and mum and that. You know, I told them on top of, you know, being here for the funeral about the relationship breakdown as well, and I just told them, look, you know, in simplified terms, I'll just tell them, look, I think the life is just basically giving me a big reset button. And, you know, a few of the uncles that I might have gone through similar stuff that I've been through, they basically told me, look, you know, that reset button's there for a reason. You know, your mother's there for a reason, your sister's there for a reason, your friends are there for a reason. So albeit you know, and I've been very, very depressed, a very sad, very broken fella at the moment. I'm getting there and sort of just looking towards that light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and just trying to get to that point. But yeah, that's sort of me at the moment. And something that I actually just read about before, about grief, you know, and you know, and what we don't realise, especially more so, I guess, you know, of course, being black fellas, we speak more so on the experience of being black fellas, is that even grief, it doesn't necessarily define going through grief as someone has died.
Yep.
But even the loss of a relationship is definitely something that can be seen as grief, more so in the Indigenous community, because breakdown of relationships can lead to so many negative impacts towards young people. You know, a girlfriend or a boyfriend that has left you, or, you know, like a father or a mother that, you know, sort of disowned you or something like that. Like a breakdown of a relationship is very harmful in our communities, and it's something that we see every day where, you know, albeit I'm still here, you know, not too many people get to sort of get on the other side of relationship breakdown and see what life else has to offer. But with that being said, you know, the quote that I sort of saw over the last few days is like, grief is not a script. Like there's no script for grief. You know, people aren't going to grieve the same way as you are.
Yeah.
And just because they're grieving differently or I'm grieving differently, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're hurting the same as you are hurting. So something that I've had to reflect on as well in this time. But, and you know, the few uncles have reached out to me and aunties and seeing if I'm all right. I'll just tell them, look, I'm fine. You know, of course I'm getting there. And we were just in the car on the radio, and the radio hosts were talking about, you know, they're doing a Pete Murray, you know, you've seen better days. And, you know, you're looking for them better days at the same time as well. So, or, you know, congratulations and proud of you, brother, for being, you know, coming through your journey to get to where you are now. But then there, like even myself in my journey, it's just part of it, you know, that going through that rough patch and trying to come out the other end. And, you know, with that relationship as well, just to end it on that, there is that, you know, me and my partner, we do speak about that hope of returning back to one another.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't a bad breakup or anything like that. It's just something where, like I said, I identified myself that I just wasn't a good fella and wasn't a good person, and bringing stuff home, like stuff that didn't need to be at home. Yeah, so it just sort of took myself out of the equation. Whereas, you know, on the other hand, my partner, she's been doing great, you know, down south. She's been doing great. She's been playing netball. She's been doing a lot of great stuff down there. And I'm proud of her and proud of what we achieved. You know, living 3 years so far away from home is a big...
In another state too.
In another state. And,
Yeah.
you know, like it was her first big move away from home. Wasn't my sort of first big move away from home. It was probably my first big move away from family as well. Because I moved, you know, I've lived in a remote area of Australia. I moved to Canberra, you know, moved to all these different places. But yeah, seemed to always come back. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
And I think looking at it as well, you coming back to Townsville, even though you came back for sorry business, it was sort of like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking from the outside, because, you know, you've been around us boys a lot. You've been coming to the gym with us. Me and you've been going on afternoon walks along the Strand, and I think it is good you being back home in Townsville for your mental health, because having the support of us boys around you, like today, you know, you went with Joe for the day and did that stuff that you did today, and yeah, it's a blessing in disguise that you're back home in Townsville.
Oh yeah.
Even though you did come home for sorry business.
I think, you know, the soul always needs to come back home. And good way, like, of course, it's not my traditional country, but being born and raised here, you know, and having friends and even family here, even friends that have turned into family, and of course, family that have turned into friends. You know, it is at some points when I'm outside of Townsville, thankfully I've left Townsville, you know, but there's those times where I'm really down. I'm like, there's no better place to be than in Townsville, you know. But
yeah, well, that's what happened to me. You know, that's what called me back home in 2023, because I went through that dark patch on the boats in 2020, which what led me to come off the boats.
Yeah. And
then I was in Cairns doing what I was doing up in Cairns, the cultural mentoring and managing that program. And then 2023, I started to hit that. It became real stagnant. I was just stuck in a roadblock, you know, I wasn't going nowhere. And at the same time, I'm coming back for weddings, birthdays.
Yeah.
Just felt like I needed to be back home in Townsville. And that's what happened. I ended up moving back 2023 and still here in 2025. So
that's it. And beyond.
Coming up.
Now we're talking about international trips for next year.
Yeah. Bulldogs going to Vegas.
Las Vegas. Oh, geez.
Cowboys too. So.
Yeah, well, when Rabbitohs go back a second time, I'll definitely buy tickets for that one. But yeah, so I guess that's our little check-in, what we do. So, you know, even though we're very close and, you know, you'll see a group of friends, there's always going to be at least one at one end of the spectrum and another one going to be at the other end, and everyone going to fit in between. So it's not necessarily, and that's what we speak about all the time on all our episodes, I believe, is that that's why it's always good when you are down in the dumps. You got to make sure you have the right people around you to keep you above water, or keep you from drowning, basically. So I'm very fortunate enough to have, of course, not just friends, but of course, like I've had a lot of family that's rocked up here, of course, for sorry business. But yeah, even just I'll be going to Annie's a lot. Annie's here. Oh, I'm addicted to that place, eh?
Thanks for the coffee drop at work, dropping off the coffee to us.
For those that don't know Annie's, you probably have a spot where you are maybe for Vietnamese coffee or something, but Annie's in town. It started in Cairns, eh?
Yeah,
Rusty
started at Rusty's Market in Cairns.
And then it's got a few I'm pretty sure they've opened one in Mackay too.
I think, yeah, there's one in Mackay and what's that shopping centre there?
Canelands. Yeah,
there's one there, and
they're
two here in Townsville, and I think there's 3 in Cairns. Smithfield, Rusty's, and
that's what I come to find. Living in New South Wales, like Vietnamese is big there, but they love their banh mi's. Whereas you get here, it's all about that iced coffee. But I guess it's a temperature thing, right? But yeah, so that's what's been happening. Addicted to Annie's, but being in Townsville as well, like Alex said, been going to the gym. Of course, most of the boys train at Strand Fitness. And just today, myself and Bala Joe, we had the opportunity to be part of a photo shoot. Not necessarily to represent Marn Business, we weren't wearing any branded gear, but one of the employees at Strand Fitness had actually reached out to the page and got myself and Joe to attend today. And, part of that photo shoot, they just wanted to show off. They opened a new room at the Strand Fitness Central location here in Garbett. So they were doing, filming us on their machines with the Strand Fitness gear on, and because we were part of it, they allowed us to take the gear home that we were wearing, and also gave us a few goodies afterwards. But it was good. Yeah, a few of the other boys that were there was like myself and Joe, a few other boys, and then sort of same amount of girls. So there was about 10 of us. So yeah, we were on the machines. Then we went into the massage room with the new massage chairs. It was basically just a photo shoot to show off all their new equipment.
Yeah.
Then we went out to the saunas and the bloody ice bath and the warm bath. But they got the girls to hop in the warm bath, and then us boys got punished because we stayed in the sauna a bit too long.
And you had your budgies on too,
I had my budgies on.
So everything disappeared.
I had my budgies on. I don't know what you mean by disappeared. Nothing was out. No, and that was the funny thing too, because I had my budgies on under my shorts, but then another brother boy that was there, he's like, I bought budgies, but I wasn't sure if anyone else was going to wear them. So me and him just sort of looked at each other, and I was like, I'll wear them if you wear them. And that was it then. So he wore his, but he had Victoria Bitter budgies. I had my Aboriginal flag ones, of course. Had to be Deadly Ninja. But no, that was good today. But other than that, before that, that didn't start till about 12 o'clock or something, that photo shoot. But Joe and I got in early with brother Zaya there.
Yep.
And we were just doing a bit of legs, bit of chest and shoulders as well.
Yeah.
Sort of killing time before the photo shoot.
Getting that pre-photo shoot pump.
That's it.
What do you do? The shoot in a singlet or a shirt?
I did it in a shirt, but funny thing, and I don't think she mean anything by one of them aunties that work at Strand. Because I had the shirt on, Strand Fitness. And, she's like, oh, everyone's looking great. And then she looks at me, she's like, you want a bigger shirt? I know she didn't mean anything by it, but it just, I started laughing, Joe started laughing, and it was just, I was like, oh. Yeah, I didn't know what else to say, but I was like, she let me train in that shirt anyway. But yeah, when she said needed a bigger shirt, I was like, that confidence sort of went down just a little bit. But
went back up when the budgies.
Yeah. When I come out in the budgies, then I was fuck it, hey, swearing up. But yeah, so that's what's been happening. What else? Yeah, walks along the Strand. Since I've been back, how many times have you been walking down the Strand?
Pretty much almost every day since you've been back.
Well, there we went for a bit, and then you went down for work over just this week, eh? Was I up here when you went down to Brisbane for?
Yeah, you were up here. So
Yeah.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, so last week went, and then you went down to Brisbane, and I didn't do any walks, and you come back, we've been doing walks. We bought a little footy up there. We bought some, so we've been practicing plays.
Because we were walking along, just making our way out of footy.
Yeah.
And we were fuck it, let's go buy a fucking footy and just
Just
Actually, pass the footy around. That we see that one uncle there always walking, saying hello to us. We might as well just get him to join in with the footy too.
We need to stop him too to have a bit of a yarn. But the walks down the stream have been great. We've sort of been getting a bit late there last few days, but them earlier times we got some content there filmed and we were able to get beautiful sunsets.
Yeah, that's my bad. Because I've been meaning to go to the gym 4:35, but Uncle, get up. Like this morning, for example, I woke up at 4. I was going to get up, go gym, but that bed was just too nice and comfy. And I thought,
aircon on when you go to sleep. Yeah.
And then I thought, I'll just wait here and I'll leave at 5. 5 come, and then I was there contemplating. I was like, I might just still go and I'll take my work clothes with me because I hate showering in public showers.
What is it? Just look that anxiety of germs.
Yeah, just the germs, And if you go in public showers, you got to fucking wear thongs, And,
sometimes you get the disease on your foot. And that's
yuck showering with thongs. So I thought I was there weighing it up. I think I'll just go and take my work clothes with me, have a shower at the gym, then go straight to work. I thought, fuck it. I just laid down until time to get ready for work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the reason why I've been training in the afternoons, and that's why the walks have been happening late. But hey, at least we're still doing it, eh?
That's it.
At least we're still doing it.
We're still getting out the door and getting it done. That's it. And I guess the reason why we bought a football and we're acting like we were bloody Jonathan Thurston without the ball, doing show and goes, I think because there's a talk of me moving back to Townsville possibly, and then that talk of then okay, well let's put an Ostag because I love Ostag, and I'm thinking we have a few Buller boys in the chat that play touch, but I think they get a bit too serious with touch, so we're like, no, we'll go play something a bit more less serious like an Ostag. Where we can have a bit of fun with.
At least you can kick the footy in Ostag.
Yes, you can kick only rubbers, but yeah, you can still kick it. Even TRL.
You can't kick it in touch. This is boring.
Yeah, you got to be really skilled in touch. Yeah, for them touch players, it's in touch players.
Nothing against touch players, I just don't like it. Just because you can't kick the ball.
Yeah, nothing against the players.
Nothing against the players. Touch is deadly.
It's the sport.
Brings out some good players. But yeah. I just don't like the fact that you can't kick it.
Pappenhausen started as a touch player, eh?
Matty Bowen was a touch player. He made the Australian touch team when he was a young fella.
Speaking of Matty Bowen, there was one time I was playing in the social league, just there with Thurrangower Drive. And this was after Matty Bowen retired. I'd say it was probably 2017, 2018 or something. And I was playing in Dools' team, and it was just us family, really. And then there was one night we versed Matty Bowen's team and all his family team. And for some reason, big fella found himself out on the wing, defending the wing. And then, I for some reason left this big gap between me and the sideline. And then I was like, okay, well, I should be all right out here. But then Matty Bowen, he does a little famous skip. And then he comes to me, and I'm just standing in mud now. I'm just like, oh, no, what's he going to do? He's gone. He skips around me and he's gone. And I'm like, he probably would have been, like 35 at that point, probably even a bit older. But
he still had a leg.
He just used to glide, and he played it in his last All Blacks Carnival, 2019 or 2020 or something.
Well, he was in that when was that grand final?
Gold Bulls, was his team, and then NB.
Yeah, but he played in that Centrals team that won that grand final in 2017. I'm pretty sure.
Was he?
Yeah, he was captain coach. I'm pretty sure. Or when was that? 2017, 2018.
Was that A grade?
Yeah, A grade. He was captain coaching Centrals.
Far out.
And they won that grand final, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Far out.
Knocked off the Brothers, I think it was.
Broke their streak that they had going on there. Anyway, now we're talking about football. I guess the biggest talk about football at the moment, I'm wearing the jersey, or wearing the Deadly Choices shirt, I should say, but Origin. Origin's coming up. There'll be team lists named, this Sunday, I think? Yeah. This Monday or something. So, of course, the speculation and the excitement is in the air again for another round of Origin football. Queensland versus New South Wales, for our non-Australian viewers, if there is any. But yeah, State of Origin, how many years is this thing? So 2025. Yeah, I'd say it'd be, 45 years? No, I don't know. But yeah, it's been going around for a while. And it's basically Australia's biggest sporting spectacle. Yeah, we're sponsored by them. But we were going to do team list, but we don't have that much time on the camera or whatever, so I'll just shorten it to name our spines. Because Queensland and New South Wales with their spines this start of the season, there's been injuries.
Yep.
There's been suspension. There's been out of form players. I wrote mine down. I don't think you wrote yours down. But this is mine. This is Queensland's spine for me. All right. I have. So for those that don't know, the rugby league terminology spine is your fullback, your 5'8" half, and then your hooker. Also, modern times, I think sometimes you add in your lock forward as well, but I didn't do that. I just went with the 4 players.
Mm-hmm.
And then my spines for Queensland, I went Ponga fullback.
Yep.
Munster DCE, because DCE is still running around. And then because I just looked this up this afternoon, but Harry Grant,
He's out.
he's out.
Yep.
So he's injured. So I chucked Hunt in at the 9.
So is Hunt.
Yeah.
Hunt's injured as well.
Is Hunt injured? Oh, well, there. Far out.
That's why Man come back just in time for Broncos, because Hunt's injured.
Well, that just ruined it for me. Anyway, so New South Wales. Hopefully no one's injured over this side, but I went Tedesco as my 1.
Yep.
I want him back in the side, the old fella. 6, I put Cleary at the 6. People probably, what? I don't care. 7, Moses. Reason, and I guess that leads into the reason why I put Cleary at 6. Moses is their man. You know, albeit like what Cleary was back there when they won, 2018, 2019, and 21, but he wasn't their leader. Like, you look at their 21 series win when they beat us in Townsville by 40 points, 50 points. It was bloody all Latrell and Tuba, Ryan. Cleary was just sort of piggybacking on whatever they were doing. So I put Cleary at 6 so he can sort of play that second fiddle to Moses, who has shown that he can lead a Blues team, and he's sort of a bit more desperate with the ball.
Yep.
You know, not necessarily dumb desperate, but he's very smart with what he can do. And then your 9's Robson.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What do you thought about you? Maybe you can think about...
So the Queensland team, for me, would be obviously Ponga.
Yep.
Reece Walsh is out, and there's no other fullback at the moment but Jai Gray, but he won't play in Origin because he hasn't really... He's been on the bench for the last few weeks for...
Yeah, because Trell's been back, yeah.
Trell's back and he's killing it with his field goals. So Ponga's the only obvious choice you can go with for fullback. 5'8", Munster. That's just Munster. 7, DCE, because he's proven and he's still playing footy. Hooker, probably... Look, there's no one else to go with but Reid Marnie at the moment.
Yeah.
Because Hunt's out injured. You wouldn't play Deedon at 9.
Oh, no.
Deedon would definitely be 14, though. But, you know, Marnie's in the Bulldogs team that's flying high.
How many Queensland hookers can you think about? Top of your head.
Not really a lot, eh? Just Marnie.
Starting ones, too. There's not many.
Marnie, Billy Walters.
Is Pate
Corey Pay.
What's Wade Egan, the Warriors? He's
New
South Wales, yeah. Dirty dog.
So, yeah, Marnie would take the number 9 spot just because he's the only available hooker, and, you know, he's a little fucking niggler, so he'll come on the field and cause some ruckus with the New South Wales players.
In that middle there, right?
You know?
Piss some people off.
And then New South Wales, I'll go Teddy as well.
Yep.
Teddy's just been killing it the whole year. Dylan Edwards, you know, he hasn't had the best season.
No.
Panthers haven't had the best season. 5'8", I'll go Moses, just because he's more of a runner than Cleary.
Yep, makes sense.
And then Cleary would be the 7. Same thing, Moses has proven in Origin. He fucking killed it last year. You know, he took control of the New South Wales team last year and just said, this is my team.
Yep.
You know, I want to make sure I'm in his team for as long as I can. So he'd be the 6. Cleary would be the 7. 9 would be Robson.
Yep.
There really isn't any other hooker that's playing good for New South Wales at the moment.
And
you got Coruscant there, but, you know, Coruscant's getting on with age and he hasn't really been playing that great.
Of course, Cookie is way out.
Way out. The only other hooker that could possibly contend with him is Wade Egan or
Brayley from
Cronulla Sharks.
Yeah. The reason why I think as well with sort of New South Wales, there's none that sort of stands out like a Robson. All of them are just all like Mitch Kent.
Yeah, and he's a big body. Have you seen Robson in person? He's pretty big in your ass, but you know.
We're talking about bodies, right?
Yeah, body. No, he's a pretty big body.
Yeah.
Like he's not the smallest footballer. He'd be big enough to play fucking back row, you know, second row.
Jeez. Where's he from?
Somewhere down Illawarra way, eh?
South Coast, eh? That's
Somewhere
right.
down that way. 'Cause he was a St. George Junior, so that's where he come from.
There's one brother boy that's reached out to me, asked me to play knockout, not the big knockout, but like
They're
for
the
those that
smaller
don't know,
ones, yeah,
the
yeah.
smaller ones. And I asked him the other day, I was like, so which knockout are you aiming for? He's like, oh, the Canberra one. I'm like, oh, okay, that'd be not too bad because when we were living in Canberra, we went to the knockout there, and it was only like 6 teams.
Yeah.
And the reason why I went was there John was playing at one.
The 6 teams play knockout, and then they're gone.
Yeah. And like that's the thing. It was
quick little carnival.
it was like a one-dayer.
Yeah.
But the team that won, it had the Fafita brothers in it. And this was like 2013 before they cracked.
Yep.
Yeah. But they were they were, as soon as they touched the ball, they were just running over.
That'd be that Griffith three-way, right?
I don't think it was a Griffith team. I think they were just playing because like the 6 teams I remember that played at that knockout were just all local. So like John's team that he played for, like Murrumbidgee Eagles. Murrumbidgee like one of the rivers down there. But yeah, one brother boy hit me up to go play in the Canberra knockout and shit. He told me, he's like, you got to stay fit.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm like, oh shit. But then I'm thinking, well, knockout, not too bad, you know, if someone just ends up losing the ball or something and we lose the game.
You're knocked out.
You don't have to play anymore.
Talking about knockouts, there's a knockout carnival happening here in Townsville next year.
Yeah. I need to ask old BK about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's knockout, eh? So is it lose out?
Well, I hope it's knockout because that's the advertisement for it, and it's in the name. So I really hope it's knockout, not round robin. But $100,000 up for grabs.
100 grand price.
100 grand, and you just aim for coming second. You know, 20 grand if you come second.
Yeah. I think as well with the knockout system, it opens it up for more teams, which is great, you know. And you know they posted a video of all the invited teams.
Yeah.
You know, most of them are like Kuwait's teams from New South Wales or the knockout boys. I mean, I think it'll help because some of them knockout teams, they'll bring up their players from New South Wales that maybe Kuwait's like us North Queenslanders have never seen play before. Because it's a different style of footy, and we can see it already between the style of footy between Kuwait's like Aboriginal style of footy from mainland to like the Torres Strait Islanders when they bring their teams down.
Yeah.
Very different style of play, but then down New South Wales and Kuwait, I think it's because then there's not too many big bodies down in the Koori mob like Goodways. They're all just all skinny and sort of tall and lean, you know. So that's why like it'd be good to see them. And you know, I think sort of the rules around players for that is like
unlimited
rep
players. So that means unlimited NRL state league players.
So we'll see how it goes, but it'll open it up then to which team could maybe swing more money.
And they're going to have that non-Indigenous player rule.
Yeah, so 3, hey?
Yeah. Which
that's a Queensland thing though, eh?
That is except for the Murray Carnival, but yeah, that is something that I wouldn't have done, but you know, but again, it's not my carnival, so
yeah, it is what it is, and maybe something that the New South Wales mob are maybe a bit more akin to, because they're not all knockouts, no matter the big one or the smaller one. It's just all mob. So maybe it'll open it up to them being like, okay, well, if these, if the rule is, it'll open it up to non-Indigenous players, just 3 max. Maybe we'll see like Walgett have like Taumalolo. Imagine that.
But some of the teams too that they invited, I was a little bit surprised about some of the teams they didn't invite, but hopefully those teams that they didn't invite do nominate.
Because there's still nominations open,
like the Sherbrooke Hornets and Warrabinda Warriors, which have been in the Queensland carnivals for
all up and down the coast. Or the Hornets,
yeah, especially Sherbrooke, like the carnivals that they have won.
Yeah.
But hopefully those mob nominate teams.
Because it's not for this year, it's for next year.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, no, Braden and all them boys there for part of his team. Good luck with you. It's like the advertisement of it all is great.
It's getting around. It was on over the Black Dot and
that's the NITV program, Dot.
NITV over the Black Dot. But they've been talking about it everywhere, and it's.
I've been waiting to see because they have that knockout podcast.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if they yarn about it.
If they yarn about it. Brother George and a few of them other breads down there. They call them breads. Yeah.
Like
Down south
slice
of the
bread.
border. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's definitely, it's been very exciting, very exciting last few months for football. Rugby league, of course, Vegas, and then they've just announced the Vegas team's going over with the Dogs, Cowboys, Dragons, Knights. That'd be all right.
I think it's Cowboys versus Knights, Dragons versus Dogs.
Oh damn, that'd be all right.
I don't know about Dragons and Knights though. They haven't been really performing well in the last few seasons. I thought they would have taken over teams that have just been playing good, like Storm, for example.
I think maybe just for the first few years, every team has once, and then afterwards, I think it should be a merit.
You know what they should have done? They should have taken rivalry teams over because that's what's going to sell the game to the
Rabbitohs versus Roosters,
like Cowboys versus Broncos, Rabbitohs versus Roosters. The derby games. That's what they should have done if they really want to sell it.
Well, their bloody Bears been announced.
The Dragons versus Sharks. Another derby game.
That South Coast. But hey, look, if you're going to Vegas and if you're Cowboy supporter, Dog supporter, Dragon supporter, or Knight supporter, good luck on your travels over there. Of course, we'll have another 12 months to talk about it, less than 12 months. But look, besides all the footy talk and, we started with a bit of the sort of general check-ins. I guess as well, like I think I mentioned that this is just a little plug, but I've been unemployed. So I've been real slack to sort of doing nothing. But, in terms of, sort of carrying on that talk of me sort of trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, I've actually made the decision to maybe step away from like community services because I've been part of community services since like 2019 in a paid capacity anyways, growing up around rugby league and, you do community services from when you're at least 13.
Yeah.
Doing all volunteer work, being ball boy for your local grade sides and whatnot. But they look like I might be going into security. And in terms of how that might look, I guess for Marn business, because a lot of, sort of bit of the behind the scenes, but, Marn business is mainly funded by, our merch sales, like what Alex is wearing, our hats, our shirts, our singlets. I think next merch lined up is the
oversized t-shirts,
t-shirts and hoodies.
Yep.
But as well, like it also is funded by even coming out of our paychecks at some points as well. So like for me to take a step back from community services and maybe look at other ways of working and maybe just trying to figure out what's the next step for myself. I definitely always have Marn business in the back of not the back of my mind, but at the front of my mind where I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to help out as much as I can? Because like we said at the start, it's going to be a very long journey to get where we want to go. But that comes from, of course, support from you guys, from our followers and fans that buy our merchandise or even follow our Instagram page and, we're trying to build our TikTok following as well. I don't know what the number is at the moment, but we have cracked, I think, over 200 followers over there. So we are getting there. But look, long term, without giving too much away, I think we want to be able to be in our own little space because we're just renting the space for podcast use. A lot of our stuff, especially when we go on walks down the Strand, it's a lot of informal stuff. So to be able to have a space and maybe have a bit more regular schedule of where, the community can reach out to us as community members, but as well as staff for Marn business. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do, whether we be a charitable organisation or whether we continue to be a brand, but use that brand to use the platforms to go to bigger heights. But yeah, is there anything that you might want to...
Yeah, you pretty much touched on it, but that's pretty much what we're looking for, is to get out there and keep this brand going and the movement that we want to do with Marn business, because everyone we speak to into the streets, strangers, friends, people we know, they love the idea of Marn business, like last year you went on the ABC radio, spoke about it, so it is making headways across the state, pretty much in North Queensland, and ideally, that's what we want to do, is become something that we can actually do more with,
Yep.
like be there for men, do workshops, whatever else we can think of. Like we're in the space here right now that's been given to us to do these podcasts, and we thank the people that have given it to us. But, to have our own podcast, our own building with a podcast studio in there where we can just leave it up and leave it set up.
Yeah,
don't have to come in.
all these
We
lights
just,
and everything, we have to pack it away and take it home.
come in,
back.
set it up, pack it up, go home, do it again next time we shoot.
Yeah.
If we can just find a space that allows us to do that, a room where we can turn into a podcast studio, a room to store all of our merch, because at the moment myself and brother Joe are storing all of our merch in our homes.
Yeah, that's taking up space.
That's taking up space in my room and Joe's house, And yeah, pretty much a space where we can store all of our merch, sit down and have our meetings about what we're going to do with Marn business, podcast, whatever else we can do, photo shoots, open it up to the community if community need to use it for stuff. If men's group want to run men's meetings, and
yeah,
that's something we can do, because there's a lot of men's groups in Townsville.
For sure. And I think there is a network there where they all sort of meet on a monthly basis, I'm pretty sure. And I think as well, with our age, and I guess like our age group that we're a part of, a lot of the men's groups, I think there is a benefit to us, to those groups, in the way that I think I guess we are the first here in North Queensland. I'm not sure what you sort of other communities or other groups do around Australia, but we want to sort of be the first where, a lot of negative stigma follows, of course, men's mental health, but a lot of negative stigma comes around using social media for these topics. But I think, us working with kids, we definitely do see the negative side of it and what it does to affect our youth. And we spoke about it on, I think, one of our previous episodes. But, even myself, I sort of have a bit of a social media footprint myself where I have seen the positive side of it all. And, I think we've all seen the positive side of it all. Yep. But because it happens so rarely that we tend to forget about it. But I think our main goal too is to be able to spread the message through social media in a way where, we will basically be the first, and be the groundbreakers. Because social media can be used for good. And I think that's what it was created for to begin with, to connect the world, right? Because then, some, mob in Africa, mob in Europe, mob in Asia, mob in, South America, North America, they probably all have the same issues that we're facing as men, and all the same issues that we face as a community around mental health. But, we talk about every other topic on earth on these platforms, but it's not talked about more often.
Yeah. And that is the difference with us too. We're trying to encourage more to break that mental health stigma by doing workouts.
Yes.
Encouraging people to go for walks, because that's what we do, And most men you talk to, they'll tell you themselves that the best place that they feel safe and at peace is at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It's in our slogan, healthy living, heavy lifting. And, when we had our barbecue last year, we've actually had a member that came down to our barbecue, and he said, it's good that the way we're doing it, because most men don't like sitting in a room with four walls.
No.
Because, it's just that pressure. You're in a room in a circle yarning about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the way we're trying to do it is by doing stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's at the gym, going for a walk, even going fishing, even going to a Cowboys game. Me and you took a brother boy, to a game on the weekend who's also going through it like you.
Yeah.
He's just gone through a breakup, and we went to ABJ's, had a feed, had a yarn, then we went to the game,
Biggest laugh.
Yeah, laughing, rundowns. But, that's just what's needed for men, because you need to get those thoughts out of your head, and you can't do it in a room with four walls.
No, not
so the way we're doing it, I think, is a very good way, and people in the community have also said it's a good way that we're doing it. So if we can just keep the wheels moving, and if it takes a long time, it takes a long time, but we just can't lose hope, and just got to hope for the best.
I see we're going to create that ripple effect. So if there's any multi-millionaires watching, we're open to donations of a space somewhere.
You can give us KPIs and we'll try and meet them.
Hey, exactly. But that's what we're talking about too. Is like in terms of all that sort of stuff, we're working on maybe figuring out what we're trying to be in terms of business side of it all. But yeah, like I think our main goal is first just to figure out what we're doing, but then how we're going to do it is our next big thing. But I think in terms of, like I said, with how we're doing it now, I think we're happy in the way we're doing it now. It's just our exposure and reach. This isn't where we want it to be at the moment, but that comes with time.
Comes with time, and it also comes with our followers. Just spreading the message. If you like, well, if you think there's someone within your friend group or within your family that's struggling, that could use some of the messages that we put out on our socials, share our page. Share our, we do have a YouTube page with all of our episodes of Marn Time on it. There's previous episodes that could relate to someone going through a tough time at the moment. If there is something out there that, if there is someone out there that needs it, just share it. Like our page, share our page. If there's anything you want us to yarn about on the podcast,
reach out.
Reach out. If there's a mental health topic that you think we could talk about, just send us a message.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, before we finish, I think we have just a few more minutes left.
I want to ask you something.
You want to ask me something?
Yes.
What do you want to ask me, Alex?
It's been floating around all over social media in the past 2 weeks.
What is it?
100 men.
Church.
1 gorilla.
Who will win?
Who's winning this fight?
Look, I've been seeing a lot of funny memes surrounding this. There's one...
Even the AI-generated videos of the gorilla just slinging guns around.
Is that funny? Because there's one that I remember, and it's a photo of Denzel, and it's like Denzel now, old fella, and his face is like it's like all screwed up, but the caption was like, the rest of us when we see the first fella's jaw hanging by skin or something. I'm like, oh my Lord. But you know what my thing is? Depending on the men, right? And this is what I thought about from the start. Like, when they say 100 men, is it basically, anyone around the world? Like, say, like, it could be bloody...
It could be Joe Blow down the road.
It could be Joe Blow down the road. It could be, your Uncle Harry that's only 80 years old that lives in the home. Like, what do they mean by 100 men?
Yeah, like, is it 100 skilled men?
Yes.
Or is it just 100 us?
Because, I mean, you look at it, I think then of like, and this is going off course on it, but the similar thing is like, you think of the Predator movie, the original, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger took out Predator just by doing little tactics, right? And outsmarting him. I think 100 men together with the brain power, if they were, like you said, skilled but smart, they could take down 1 gorilla easy. Yeah. Because gorillas, there's a lot of, people say there's a lot of strength, there's a lot of energy there, but that energy burns. There's no such thing as an endurance gorilla. Gorillas have to relax for a bit.
But I just can't help but think of it, Like, I just think of, when they say 1 gorilla, I'm here thinking about King Kong.
Like a big boy.
Like a big beast, He's going to be throwing guts around here, there, everywhere, tearing people's jaws apart. But you know what makes me laugh too? You were talking about those AI-generated memes and everything. That one video where that Brock Lesnar sound happens, and that gorilla just chewing that thing, and his face just drops, and he's staring at Brock Lesnar walking. All of those videos, was laughs. But yeah, like you're saying, depends on the 100 men that they select.
Yeah, because I mean, and that's the thing too. In terms of 100 men, are they all random 100 men where they all don't know each other? Whereas I think always, if you get me, you, Joe, and Minnie, and maybe a few other boys, like that's part of our group chats, like we would sort of have enough to maybe be like, okay, well, maybe
jump on him. Jump on. Twist his nuts.
But yeah. Of course, I overthink things as anyone does. Yeah. But I just think about, okay, well, what do these 100 men look like?
If there were 100 Spartans,
Yeah, if they were 100 Navy SEALs.
Yeah, 100 Navy SEALs, 100 Spartans, whatever. That gorilla don't stand a chance.
Or like, say if we were to like go like a different route, and like instead of 100 men, what about like 100? Oh, what would you call it? 100 Bo Jacksons. Old footy player, old gridiron player, or like 100 Greg Inglis's.
Gorilla Roche, Fen. But I'll come across this TikTok page. This fella does simulations
Oh, like
of
and it's like a big battlefield.
yeah, big battlefield, and they just rush it in there, and his little simulation, the 100 men just destroy the.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's just all you're swarming.
That's it.
But like I said, whoever gets caught in that swing,
The first one does take that first punch.
yours. Oh no!
I'm just getting lifted. But yeah, that's it's been good to.
But look, I guess with the discussion, if it was just 100 regular men, for like just from community, I'd have to give it to the gorilla. If it's just 100 regular Australian men, maybe the gorilla. But if we were to then split it up, but I'd say 100 Australian men compared to say 100 from other countries. I'd say Australian men might be a bit.
We stand a better chance.
Yeah, we stand a better chance than other countries, I'd say.
Look how we live.
Other regulars. I mean, look.
We live with snakes and spiders, mate.
Look at this. Look at that. Oh, good ways. If I was chosen, if it was one day where it happened, right? And do you ever watch that movie Condemned with Stone Cold Steve Austin when they put
Yeah.
island?
Yep.
Like if there was one day where they called me up and they're like, "You're going to an island to fight a gorilla with 99 other men," yeah, no, I'm forming alliances. I'm like, no, we got to take this together. I'm sharpening sticks. Because I'm not sure about weapons or anything.
If we had to use weapons, the men would definitely win.
Yeah.
But if it's just bare fist,
if it's bare fist, well, yeah, easy. One punch, gone.
He's gonna have to
sleep.
But I come across a few videos as well, where the partners are on the phone to somebody, like ringing on the phone, 50,000. Yeah, I'll sign my man up for 50,000. And then that man just sitting down there watching TV like, and he's like 50,000. Yeah. So all he's got to do is fight a gorilla, and then his face just drops. Yeah, what you going to sign me up for? But it's been a good talking point over the last few weeks.
Makes sense. But no, that's a great question because it definitely has been popping up on mine. But it's all the funny stuff you see over on like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these videos and memes. It's just the internet remains undefeated. It's nothing.
How quick some people are too with things.
With the humor, eh?
Well, I think I've seen that fucking Goku Ultra Instinct one fighting a gorilla too, like just dodging and everything.
There was one one photo, another meme, and it was like off a wrestling page, so all of it was wrestling photos. But there was one fella that was face down next to a broken table. And the caption was like me playing dead or something after the gorilla took out the first 97 or something. It was that.
So 3 of you left. Oh no!
Oh, that's terrible. But look, like with all that serious talk, a little bit of funny talk, a little bit of rugby league talk. That's what we do here over at Marn Time. We talk about all sorts of stuff. But like Alex said, our DMs are always open, whether it's, if you're friends with either of us or any of the other boys that you might have seen on the Marn business page, you can always reach out, because if you do message, say, a direct page of one of the boys, most likely they'll feed it back to us anyways about any questions or any topics you want us to talk about on here. And, we talk about the heavy stuff. We talk about sports, sports that we're interested in, but
we're rugby league man.
Rugby league man, because we're Queensland. Right? But then we also like to do sort of the lighthearted stuff as well. So there's still confusion. I get it. We're still young. People are still figuring out what we do in terms of our followers or people that might want to follow us. Look, our Marn Time podcast is all about just giving us boys a platform to talk about how we feel, like that general check-in. But, the last few episodes have been just one-on-one chats with certain special guests. So this podcast is definitely, like, in terms of the theme, it's all about just getting us a platform to talk about our feelings and our mental health and stuff we might be going through. And on top of that, special guests that we might bring on that, go about their journey.
And the special guests that we do bring on, they know that we're all about mental health, and they're comfortable with opening up to us as well about their mental health journey. And in saying that as well, like Will touched based on the social media side of things, on behalf of myself, Will, Joe and Minnie, because we're the main four that run Marn Business, if you do shoot a message to Instagram or Facebook and we do take a while to reply, we're sorry about that, because we do all have full-time jobs except for Bella Will at the moment. But yeah, if we do take a while to reply, it's just because we're just too busy with life. But we will get to your messages. We do see every message that we get, and
I think that's our main goal too. Is we want to give up our full, even though we all work in community services in a way. I think that's what makes us so comfortable. If we do make the transition to having this Marn Business or Marn Time being something that could be an income in the future, we're most comfortable in making that transition if it comes to it. Because it is something, it is me and Joe's baby, but of course Minnie and Alex coming on the last year and a half, it's definitely been their baby as well in this resurgence. If there's ever the green light where we get a bit of money behind us where we have to work full time on this, we're ready for it.
I'd love to. I'll do it tomorrow if we could.
Exactly. But like Alex said, some reply times are a bit longer than usual. But we do ask that you just give us a bit of time where, there we do go through work stuff.
Yeah, and brother Minnie's about to have another baby.
Yep. So. Family stuff, us two here, we're the only ones with no kids and no woman at the moment. So we're sort of just, our excuses, I guess, is just work and
work. And work takes a lot. Work takes a lot out of us, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
And of course, you heard my story at the start of this episode. It's been a lot. So, but we appreciate all the messages and all the story replies, and people still tagging us on their stories. And we
love it. We love it when you're at the gym and you're feeling like you want to tag Marn Business. Tag us, because we'll share you. We'll share your journey as well.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else what I wanted to talk about? I forgot now. No. I think that's all about it. But I'll be in Townsville. I guess I'm not sure for how long. But if you see myself and Alex walking at the Strand at night time, or see us out and about, don't be afraid to come up and have a yarn with us.
How good was it when we were driving here for the podcast?
That's right.
We're seeing a car driving in front of us at the lights pulled up, and we're looking at the back windscreen, and we have the Marn Business sticker. So if you have purchased merch off us and you do have those stickers, we love seeing them around. So
that's it.
Some of the staff at Strand Fitness have their stickers on their water balls as well. So
shout out to the Strand Fitness staff too. They're deadly.
Yeah,
they're deadly out there. Awesome facilities. Even though that I've been out of town for a while, every time I do come back, because these boys train at Strand Fitness a lot, all of the time. I train with them as well as much as I can when I come back. So.
And for them to message us as well, to ask us for 2 boys to go and do a photo shoot, to
represent,
they're trying to push us as well, and wherever we can return the favour.
Yeah, whenever we can return the favour, and we're always open for community stuff. We have been getting a few emails about community partnerships and that. So it's something that we need to discuss more, and definitely something that you'll see more of us, maybe with more community partnerships towards the end of the year or maybe next year. But it's a work in progress. Right?
Maybe tomorrow if we can get someone to sponsor us. Yeah, never know.
Money makes the world go around, baby. But with all that being said, we if it was possible to do this stuff for free, like the Marn Business stuff, I guess working in community services for a while, you sort of find that love for your community and the people that you work for. Of course, like I said, money does make the world go round. So as much as we love doing what we're doing to reach more, that does require the dollars behind it. But that's just all funny talk for now. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing right now, and hopefully someone will see us on what we're doing.
What we're doing is working at the moment, and we'll just keep at it. But like we said earlier, we do still have some hats left over,
merch, yeah,
some singlets left over, some shirts. So.
And more stickers are coming. You're going to order more stickers.
I'll do that tonight when I get home.
So they're going to be smaller ones to fit on your phone.
Yep, and bigger ones, like just probably the same size that we got now. So
Yeah.
there are more
Ones that
coming.
can fit on your water bottle or maybe like a laptop, like one for your laptop.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm not sure how long this episode has gone for, but, it's just a little quick yarn, whilst we're both free at the moment because brother Alex going to Brisbane this weekend for a birthday party for Bulla Joe. And then I'm still sort of figuring out tying up the last few ends with my family around sort of the sorry business I was up here for. So grateful enough that we were able to record this episode before I go on a leave of absence again, where I have to tune in via laptop or something when I have to record, or these boys will take over and record with another special guest. But yeah, that being said, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, still Marn Business over there on our Instagram and TikTok. But if you want to see our podcast episodes, they are on YouTube and Spotify under Marn Time, MarnTime, 2 words, Marn Time. And like Alex said, there are previous episodes already released, and they don't, they're not sort of linked in. There's not sort of a storyline. That's all. We all talk about, on all the episodes, we talk about different topics and different themes we target. And then, of course, with the special guest ones that we fill in as well, talk about stuff on there. Yeah. But thank you. Peace out. We love you. Thank you for your support. Yeah, we'll in the next episode.